I am afraid. When I was 5, I used to hide gummy bear vitamins in between couch cushions because I was afraid of my mom finding out that I wanted more than my daily dosage of 2. When I was 8, I used to slap mirrors with ring lights because I was afraid of how they could terrifyingly turn on and off by themselves. When I was 11, I used to remind myself to lie on my back when I slept because I was afraid that I'd drown in my dreams if my face made contact with the pillow. When I was a freshman, I used to re-practice, re-listen, re-everything because I was afraid of fumbling over flute keys and looks of reproach during technique class. I'm a junior now, and the things that I fear most, the things that carry the most weight for me, that sit the most heavily on my back, are no longer physical. But how can a fear still have arms bulky enough to trap you, a mind cunning enough to manipulate you, and a stance authoritative enough to detain you without involving a physical body at all? That's my fear of the future. In a way, I almost wish that I was afraid of something physical and concrete again, because at least that would quantify my fears. You can avoid the ocean, ring lights, and even technique class if you try hard enough, but you can't avoid the future, and you can't avoid feelings of inadequacy. Shakespeare's Julius Caesar is a tragedy not necessarily because everybody dies in the end. It's a tragedy because those deaths were already predetermined, and the fates of every single one of those characters were never going to change no matter how hard it had been tried. So I'm scared that my future may already be predestined for me, that failure has been and was always going to be predestined for me. But what is failure? The dictionary says that it's lack of success, an inability to bring an action, an idea, a something to fruition. For me, failure is an inability to fulfill others and consequently my expectations of myself. I feel as if every action that I do is a checklist of my quality of character, and over time that checklist builds expectations of what is desired from me. Like an uncertain equation, I want so badly to produce the right answer, I want so badly to do the right thing, to be correct, to gain approval, because if an equation suddenly fails to work and satisfy, then what was the point of its existence in the first place? And so I'm scared of being that kink in a machine that then gets tossed aside, that crack in a wall that makes the whole building faulty, that stain on a shirt that deems it unfit for wear, disproved, disliked, and disrespected. That's what failure is to me, and that's what I think awaits me in the future. Here's the issue with basing your self-worth off of what other people expect. You will never feel full, content, or present. Nothing that I do feels like an accomplishment. It feels like a relief that I didn't fail. If I didn't do well enough on a test, an essay, or an oral exam, I can no longer see it as a stepping stone, a ring on a ladder to grow and do better. Instead, I feel hot shame and deeply entrenched embarrassment that I failed to do what others thought I could, that I'm not good enough, and I never will be. In middle school, I filled my free time with flute, drawing, and above all, books. It was these 3 things that I look back on middle school with and feel the most vividly about. I remember staying up until 2 a.m. not to study, but because I couldn't set a novel down. I remember relentless practicing for IMEA and bus rides to watch the CSO. I remember sketching faces in the corners of science notebooks and homework papers. But if I love those things so much, why does it pain me to talk about them now? Why do I feel so sad and discomforted reminiscing about them? It's because I spent the better part of my high school years chasing after what others expected of me, to be diligent, studious, and a hard worker, but never an artist, a reader, or a musician. I cut off what I loved most and has often left me an empty and sad person. Yet that possibility of a future failure to meet others' expectations terrifies me. But I'm a hypocrite. I'm wrong. I said that people expect from me, that their expectations have turned me into nothing less than the human embodiment of a Machiavellian means to an end tactic. That I'm here having to fulfill their expectations and leaving nothing for myself. That's not entirely true. I expect for me too. I'm not governed by someone kidnapped in thought and held captive in action. Nobody forced me to comply to these expectations. I twisted them into impossible goals for myself, simultaneously becoming my own captive and captor. And so I'm still searching for balance in my life, not the precarious balance of a first-time tightrope dancer or a beginning ice skater, but the type of balance that intimates warmth, health, and happiness. I can still love art, study hard, and make others happy, but I can also allow myself to be wrong and live for me.